All right, so we're going to practice the drop. Hold on, let me turn my mic down a little bit. You're on mic 3. Go ahead and give me a sound check, sound check.
Sound check, sound check.
Check 1, check 2, check 3. This is your girl, JQ, and you're listening to 89.3 Huntsville. Valley Sounds, every Saturday night at 9 p.m. We're a show that is dedicated to music that is created, performed right here in the Tennessee Valley. We feature musicians, music, bands, all things that are music and entertainment related from the Huntsville and surrounding areas. With me today, I'm super excited to have in the studio live and in charge, Mr. Charles Owens.
Hey, Jay.
Hey.
How you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's go ahead and let's see if you can get that drop on the first round. Go.
This is Charles Owens, and I'm with my girl JQ, and you're listening to Valley Sounds on WLRH 89.3 Huntsville.
Whoop, whoop. You did that, you did that, you did that. Yes, honey, yes. Let's jump right on in this thing.
All right.
The first question I'm going to ask you, Charles, is pretty easy.
Okay.
You know, I know you've been in the industry for quite some time. In, out, producer, music creator, artist, you know, promoter. You had your own record label, all of that good stuff. What drew you into the music industry in the beginning?
What drew me in is I started as a guitar player when I was about, I guess, 10 years old. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in a neighborhood where everybody played an instrument or could do something musical. And so by the time I was about 12, we were playing songs off the radio. My best friend lived across the street at the time. He played bass. Another kid played drums that lived down the street. Another kid played keyboards. We had horn players. And by the time I was in middle school, if you couldn't play the latest Rick James, Prince, Cameo, Lakeside song, you see I was fed a lot of funk. If you couldn't play this funk music that was on the radio, don't even come out the house.
Okay.
So that's how I originally got started playing music, just hanging out with the guys in the neighborhood, and we pushed each other to be able to play the latest songs that were on the radio.
What does your creative process look like? Because I know that you do more than just music. You're a brainiac, you're an engineer, you're a father, you have so many other things. You're a photographer, you're into a lot of groups and organizations. So, like, how does your creative process work?
So for the music, the creative process is varied. It depends on what instrument I'm starting on. I may start writing, I may start playing chords on the guitar. I may hear a melody that I might play on piano. I may start with the bass line. And it just depends. I may start with the drum track, and I just build from there. I put the pieces together from there. So a song, a melody may pop in my head of just lyrics, and I may build the music around the lyrics or the melody that's in my head. So it's for creating music, it's a varied process. It just depends on really what instrument I start on and what the inspiration is at the time.
Do you have a hidden music behind all of your music, or is it really just what you feel?
It depends. It depends on what's inspired me, to be honest with you. Some of it is just most of it is just what I feel. A lot of it is, when I first started writing, was based on experiences that I probably wanted to have, especially the love songs. As I got older, you draw from more life experience, and I think, those are the things that influence my writing, is more now so life experience more than anything else.
What's your favorite part about your music?
That's hard to say. I think my favorite part of the music is the actual creation process. And my second favorite is when it's all said and done and I can hit play and know that every piece of it was me. The guitar, the bass, the keyboards, all the synths, the drums, to know that, I created that out from nothing pretty much. So, but the actual creation process, I think I enjoy that more than anything. I've probably written in my lifetime maybe 16 or 1,700 pieces of original music. So I have a huge library of stuff I've done.
Wow! Oh my God! And that kind of leads me into my next question, because you are defined as a legend, literally, in the music industry, because not just, how much you've created, but how long, all the different types and styles of music that you've created, the performances that you've done, the type of music that you do, the variety of instruments that you play. So being a legend in the music and in the industry, what is the most challenging thing about, um, being a musician?
Well, first of all, I just want to say you're being very generous with the legend part.
No, I'm dead serious now. I looked it up and Googled. Those are all the things that define what a legend is. And,
Okay.
and so you meet those qualifications,
I
bro.
appreciate that. I appreciate that tremendously. And the second part of your question was, what's the hardest part about being a musician?
Yeah.
For me, it's been different stages that have been more difficult. Starting out, just learning the instrument, being proficient on the instrument, Then you get in certain circles where people hopefully are significantly better than you are. So these people bring you up. They recognize that you have a gift or a talent, and they allow you in their circle, and they kind of mentor you and teach you. And I think the last phase and the final phase for me, the most difficult part has just been doing me. One of my mentors, he's deceased now, a gentleman by the name of Spanky Alfred. Everybody knows him as Eddie Chalmers, Spanky Alfred. He is a legend for real. Play with anybody who is anybody, but he was over my house recording one night, and I was playing bass on a song, and he was playing guitar, and I asked him, I said, Spanky, I'm not the musician you are. Why you let me in your circle, man? And he said, Chuck, he says, I can play anything you can play. He says, but I'll never be able to play it like you played. He said, do you, man? He says, if you didn't need to be in this circle, you wouldn't be. And he said, but always do you. He says that'd be the defining thing that separates you. Is you. Nobody can do you but you, so do you.
I hear that from a lot of musicians, a lot of people that are working in the creative and industry of creation, and music is definitely one of those industries. Um, when you think about creating, a lot of your music is of your own creation, but I do know that you collaborate with a lot of people. So how do you decide, or what generates collaboration with you in your music?
So that's an interesting question, because I've often asked that question myself. How do you get in with a particular circle? How do you get in with a particular producer or musician? But you know what? If you are proficient of doing who you are, you attract certain people, and certain people will just kind of come in your space, and those are the people you find yourself collaborating with. You have something that you both can feed off of and both can learn from and grow doing together. So the first part, though, is being proficient at what you do. And through the proficiency and trying to be excellent at the thing you do, you will attract certain people. And those end up being the people who wind up in your space, who you end up doing the most collaborations with.
Now, this last album that you just released, what was it, October the 7th?
October the 9th.
October the 9th, you just released a new album. And how long had it been since you had done an album before this one?
Okay, so here's the thing about that. I've done music for some movies and TV shows and commercial artists, and I had to deal with Universal Motown for like 6 years. And this is the first album I've done for myself.
What?
This is the very first album I've ever done for myself.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so.
Man, it's an awesome project. I have heard, listened, jammed out, played, shared every single song on this album, man. Like, because it's all good.
Oh, thank you.
It is all good. It to me, it sounds like you took your time. There was a lot of interesting dynamics to each song. I mean, how did you come up with it? How many songs is it?
It's nine.
Nine songs, right? How did you? What made you just really want to dive into doing this project and creating your own album on your own label?
So one of my good friends, she has been featuring me since college. I played in a jazz trio when I was in college, and I would send her some of the tapes, and she would play it here locally on the radio. And I've known her for years, and every time I saw her, she'd say, you need to do your own project. And I won an award one year for producing Mark Lacey's spoken word album, won Producer of the Year for his first album. And after that, she was like, you need to do your own project. You need to do your own project. And I just never really took it seriously. So I turned 50 this year. And I said, you know what? I'm finally going to check that box and do my own album. So the music that you're hearing on this album was done for me. I didn't take into account anything commercial, anything that was happening on the radio now. I did this album strictly for me, and if people liked it, great. If they didn't like it, great. But it was just something that I needed to put out for myself. If I do another one, it'll probably be a lot more commercial, a lot more current. But this one was just really done for my own edification.
Well, it's super nice. I'm really enjoying it. I'm
Thank you.
excited to see you start performing live. And so, is that on your agenda? Or are you going to be giving us some live, entertainment with your new album, a tour coming?
So that has not been part of the plan. I did some of the songs live at my release party, and the response was very, very positive. There has just been no plan for me to promote this album in the form of touring or anything like that. But I'm always open to it. I've played in a lot of different groups here in the Huntsville area, and that's something that I would not dismiss. I would be open to doing that if the right opportunity presented itself. So.
Do you deal with performance anxiety or any? I know a lot of artists that really just don't do well performing live. They're more studio artists than they are live performance artists. Do you consider yourself more of a studio or a live performance, or do you suffer from any of those anxiety issues when it comes to performing live?
I have been playing live since the eighth grade, I believe it is. I played in jazz ensemble at Davis Hills Middle School. Played guitar, actually. And then I played bass in the jazz ensemble at Johnson High School. And I played for the choir, and I've played in churches. I've played with a lot of groups around here, a lot of groups in college. So performing is just a natural place for me. I don't get anxiety about performing. Now this is odd, I get very nervous after the performance. I don't know why,
What?
but when it's all done, I get to the point where I start sweating like crazy. But during the performance or right before, I'm like, let's do it.
Wow.
Let's get it done.
What's your favorite instrument?
Oh, that's a hard one. Um, so I'm going to answer that two ways.
Okay.
Um, the natural instrument for me is bass. I picked up the bass knowing how to play it. That's if I were gifted at doing anything, it'd probably be bass. Within 3 months of playing the instrument, Dr. Wesley at Alabama A&M, found my father after a performance at Johnson High School. I was in ninth grade, picked up the bass for the first time in September. I taught myself how to read bass clef in 4 days. And what happened was the band director gave me a bass. He came and saw me play at Davis Hills. So when I became a freshman, he forgot I didn't play bass. He thought I played bass, but he saw me playing guitar. So he said, hey, here's a bass. We start practice next week. So that was a Monday. So I had my dad take me to A.B. Stevens to get a bass book, and I couldn't read bass clef music. So I taught myself how to read bass clef. I taught myself fingering on the bass, and by Thursday, I was playing the sheet music he gave me. And I picked up the instrument on Monday. By Thursday, I was playing sheet music. By Monday, I was ready to play with the rest of the band. I was so young and dumb. I thought that's how everybody learned how to play an instrument. So, I was reading instrument and playing sheet music in about 4 days on bass. So that's my natural instrument, and I love playing bass. And I'm a completely different musician on bass than I am guitar. I love guitar. One of the reasons why I love guitar is it is a very challenging instrument I'm not saying anything against bass, but for me, mastering guitar, it will be a lifelong journey. I'm always learning new stuff. I'm always trying to tweak my mental approach to the instrument. It's just so vast, the things that I want to do and want to learn on guitar. It's really my favorite instrument because there are just so many different dynamics that I can create on the guitar. I love bass too now, but I think my favorite, if I had to pick one, it would be guitar.
You have been playing music for quite some time, and
Mhm.
I'm sure you recognize that your music has evolved.
It has.
Has your genre of music always been the same, though?
No, it hasn't. So I started out, believe it or not, playing classical guitar. That was the very first style of music I played. So um, a lot of it lends itself to, and it was more of Latin classical type of
Okay.
music. So in some of the songs, like the I Remember song, it's got that Latin feel to it. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of my music does have that because I started out playing like the Latin classical type of fingering type of guitar. But I've played jazz. I've played a lot of R&B. I've recorded a lot of hip hop tracks for people. So I even played drums in a country band for a little while when I was in college. So, uh, so
Woo!
any genre. I was fortunate enough to write the theme music to the Space Camp theme song, and I brought a choir in to do the background vocals for that, and with a country artist singing lead.
Wow.
And so it's varied, and I listen to a lot of different types of music too, and I think that has the biggest influence on why my music is takes on a lot of different genres.
What is your favorite type of venue to perform in?
Oh wow, um, that's a hard question because I haven't played live in so long. I like small, intimate settings. I think
Okay.
I think so. There's nothing like being on stage and the people are really feeling what you're doing. There's a certain energy there that's created that you don't get anywhere else. So.
I do know about that because it's like the feedback and like you said, the energy that you get from the live performances, man. It's
Mm-hmm.
even as a fan,
Mm-hmm.
I can play your music in the car all the time and
Mm-hmm.
that helps me become more familiar with the song.
Mm-hmm.
But you really feel the beats and understand and the emotion from the song when
Mm-hmm.
you're actually vibing live with the
Exactly.
musician and the
Exactly.
words and the sounds of the music.
Exactly.
I really appreciate you for coming in the studio and sharing a little bit about yourself and, of course, your music.
Thank you for having me, JQ. I
Yeah, yeah,
really
man.
appreciate it.
Is there any advice that you'd leave someone who wants to necessarily follow in your footsteps or who's interested in, creating an album from scratch?
Well, first of all, be honest with yourself about why you're recording, why you're trying to make an album. Um, you know, most people are not going to make it in music. So, according to the Recording Industry Association of America, the average artist sells 436 CDs. That's it. So you got to balance that with all the people that have sold 5 million, 1 million, which means there's a lot of people that sell like 10. So you've got to be honest with yourself about why you're trying to do music. Um, if you love it, be proficient. Just try to be as proficient as you can at what you do, and never get to a point where you're not willing to learn and learn from somebody and play with as many different people as you possibly can. It's not for everybody. Everybody's not built for the ups and downs and the heartbreak that comes with trying to make it as a musician. So that's why you have to be true to yourself as far as why you're doing it and what your expectations are.
All right, so the last thing I want you to do is I want you to tell everybody how they can get involved or they can gain access to your music.
Okay, so you can find my music on iTunes. Just look up Charles Owens, and the album is Who I Am. You can also find it on Google Play. You can find it also on Spotify. And if you want to go to the website, that kind of gives you a small bio on myself. And if you want to order an actual CD, go to cowensmusic.com. And you can get snippets of the songs there, and you can order the CD from there. And you'll have it in just a couple of days.
That's awesome. So we're going to go out and I'm going to share with them what's your favorite song off of your new album.
That's not fair.
It is fair. What's
You
your
know,
favorite song off of your new album?
at different times, it's different songs. So,
But what about right now in the studio with your girl JQ? What is your favorite song you want to share with my listeners?
oh man, you know what? I like. So I'll give you three of my favorites.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
ready.
Let's Be the Ones.
Okay,
I Remember,
okay.
and Figure Out How to Love.
Said.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is your girl, JQ. You're listening to Valley Sounds on 89.3 Huntsville. I'm going to take you out with Charles Owens, and this is Let's Be.
Then you came in my life to add value, and this thing we had won't just go away.
Man, that was awesome, Charles.
Let's be the
Yeah,
one